Ramen is a Japanese dish that was inspired by Chinese merchant sailors that came to Japan in the late 1850s.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
I like a bank that's a pillar in my community.
I like a bank so cutting edge, they have a lab branch.
We are so alike.
Well, we do both bank at Farmers National Bank.
Farmers.
Stand strong.
Noodlefun is the area's first ramen shop. We're also going to be melding the idea of a Japanese izakaya, which is a local pub in Japan, usually found in down the alleys. Have 10 to 12 seats, one guy cooking some stuff, and it's a popular way to eat after work in Japan. So we're going to meld the idea of a ramen shop and izakaya with having different ramen noodle bowls, and we will also have Japanese street foods. My son came up with the name. A little bit of a backstory, goes way back to figure out how Noodlefun, the name, really works. My son had no idea, but ramen is a Japanese dish that was inspired by Chinese merchant sailors that came to Japan in the late 1850s. So they would, on their boats, the Chinese sailors were making noodle soups, and the people in the ports could smell it and get the idea, and then they really started trying that and bringing it into Japan's culture. Now, the Chinese word for noodle is fun, but my son didn't know that. So it just kind of worked out that Noodlefun, noodle, it works out, but we also want you to come here and have noodles and have fun. And so that's where that name comes from. I haven't been to Japan. I'm just really a student of it, books, immerse myself in the culture through all different types of mediums, talking with people that have been there. Talking with people that have had ramen shops in the past. When I was working in downtown Cleveland, I was a couple blocks away from Jonathan Sawyer, and I picked his brain at Noodle Cat all the time. I used to walk down there between lunch and dinner and grab a bowl. So anywhere I could soak up that knowledge, I have been. This is the everyman food. I mean, that's what, it's not uncommon in Japan to go to a ramen shop, and first off, they're very strict about the way you act in a ramen shop in Japan. You go in there, you eat, and you get out. They have the whole system going on, and the more popular ones, people get in line before they go to work at 5 in the morning and get their ticket so they can have a seat at lunch. And they want you in and out, but it is an everyman thing. Ramen has its origin in economics. Ramen, like I had mentioned, has its origins from Chinese merchant sailors in the late 1850s, but it was really like a port kind of thing for many years until World War II. And when World War II happened and much of Japan was in famine after the atomic bombs were dropped, it was very hard to find whole animals or to find a hearty meal that they had before. So rice became a huge staple, and after that, soups, because you could take one animal and make a whole lot of broth and feed many people. And the rise of ramen also came because a lot of what America offered as far as food aid at that time was wheat. And typically rice was the crop there, but we dropped a whole lot of wheat, and they started growing that, and they started using that, and that's where the wheat noodle, the ramen noodle, came to be. A lot of the other Japanese noodles are rice-based. Legitimate ramen is a broth that takes at least 24 to 30 hours. It's an overnight, if not longer, process. You're coaxing a whole lot of flavor out of there. And there's a Japanese scientist with the last name of Momofuku he figured out how to condense all that into a little powder and how to freeze dry the noodles, and that's where the instant ramen came from. This gentleman has been the inspiration for a lot of people. A huge, very popular ramen shop in New York City is called Momofuku for that reason. David Chang's place, he's a well-known chef. But the instant ramen isn't something to be just eschewed. I mean, it's great. I mean, when you come in here, you'll realize that I'm sitting in front of probably 300 instant ramen noodle packets that became a collage for the wall here. But it has its place, and it always will. But the real thing is something that everybody should try.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
I like a bank that's a pillar in my community.
I like a bank so cutting edge, they have a lab branch.
We are so alike.
Well, we do both bank at Farmers National Bank.
Farmers.
Stand strong.